One of the things I realize when we are talking to people and we're giving them any type of words of advice or we're giving our opinions on different things is that we have to be mindful that people may interpret what we are saying as something differently than what we're saying. Like, for example, if we're talking to somebody and we're telling them something about the way that they should carry themselves, like we feel as though they're not living up to their fullest potential in life, we may be inclined to use a more straightforward, more aggressive tone. And sometimes what that comes across as, it comes across as like you're a know-it-all. It comes across as, that person really doesn't have much of a choice to be able to choose between what they've been doing and improving their behavior. And a lot of the times we can lose people, especially those that are not of the faith, when we are telling them about the good news, we're proclaiming the gospel, and it's such a passionate topic to us as believers that there's a thin line that we have to walk in terms of us winning somebody over for Christ versus pushing them further away than they were before. And one of the things we have to keep in mind is what I'm going to talk to you today about is in Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. It does talk specifically about how to live a Christian life. And I'm going to start here at verse 6. It says, "Let your conversation always be full of grace, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how to answer everyone." That's talking about unbelievers, that when we are with unbelievers or people that do not currently believe in Jesus Christ, that we make the best use of our time. When we're talking with them, we are making sure that we're relating to them in terms of knowing where they are, knowing that they don't believe in the faith, and being able to use language that's going to be seasoned with salt. Think about when you have some sort of protein, some sort of beef or fish or chicken or what have you. If you season it with salt, it makes it more savory, it makes it more flavorful. So when you have conversation with people that may not have the same level of understanding as you are, now we can take this into the academia arena. Even if somebody doesn't know your job like you know your job, you have to make sure that that speech that you're using toward them is seasoned with a little salt, so that way they can taste where you're coming from. Now, if you don't season it with salt, you just give it to them just like how you think they're supposed to have it. Just give it to them straight, no seasoning, no salt, no grace. Just say it. Just say it how you feel it. They may not be as receptive, and they may not be inclined to ask any questions that you may be able to answer. As a teacher, as a leader in the community, we can't fall along the lines of just giving people how we feel, because maybe one day I may not feel like being so nice, but it's not about how I feel. It's about what God is wanting us to do to bring people closer to him. And what he's wanting to do is having their best interests at heart, and also allowing us to be usable by him, because if we're trying to give it to him the way we want, then we're going to miss the way that he wants to deliver whatever he wants to tell them to them. So we have to remember being gracious, seasoning our speech with salt. Even sometimes when people don't give it back to you, sometimes they'll give it to you a little rough, and you're more inclined to say, you know what, they gave it to me that way, I can do one better. I can give it to them better than they gave it to me. Then that causes a competition. You see what I'm saying? So we want to make sure that we are seasoning our speech with salt for people who may not have the same level of understanding as we do, so that way they can see where we're coming from. That way we can keep their attention, because if somebody's feeling offended, then their attention is not on what we're saying. Their attention is on trying to respond to what we're saying and not understanding what we're saying. And we end up missing out on an opportunity to help someone gain a better understanding. So keep that in mind going forward. If you are trying to educate someone on anything, I use the gospel because that's exactly what was described in Colossians chapter 4, verse 6. But you can apply this to any part of your life. whether it be at your job, whether it be even in relationships. Sometimes people don't come from the same backgrounds. We all come from different backgrounds, and we're coming together, we're dating, we're getting married. We have to continually keep that speech seasoned with salt, even if the person doesn't have the same level of understanding as we do, because we're trying to help them understand where we're coming from. We can't help them understand where we're coming from if we're offending them by what we're saying.